In my head, when I go through my animation, I'm thinking about it in 3 or 4 stages. So I'm thinking about setting up 3 or 4 cameras. One for this introductory section, one for this little tunnely bit, one for these jumps, and maybe a separate one just for the ending, just to help sell that final little moment. You may find that you need more, you may find that you need fewer, but this is a pretty big scene. So more than one is probably good. One thing I can do is in the panels menu, I mentioned earlier that I can look through my camera. Another thing that I can do with that is I can tear off a copy. So I'm going to tear off a copy of camera 1, and that gives me this little floating window where I'm looking through my camera. Back here in my regular perspective view, I'm going to go back to perspective, so I'm back in my normal modeling panes, and now as I move this camera around, I can see where it is and I can see the motion that happens here as well. So that's going to help me just figure out where my camera is spatially. So I know that this camera, if this is going to be the camera that I use for the introductions, it should probably be rotated this way so that it's looking at those beginning jumps. Yes, it's perfect. That is definitely not a perfect shot. Don't listen to me. Here in my copy of the perspective view that's looking through this camera, if I go to View, under Camera Settings, I'm going to turn on my resolution gate, which will let me frame my shot a little more accurately, because now I can see what's around here. And boy, it looks like I did a number on the camera rotation. I'm just going to zero that out. And now I should be able to come in and get a pretty good angle on this introduction. So if I look here, I can see the ball jumping and then going into the tunnel. And that is going to be the way that I set this camera up. Since I know that this is my intro shot, I'm going to double click on it and call this one Intro Camera. If you're feeling super organized, and you might be, some people are, you'll also keep track of where the ball is framed nicely in this camera and where it isn't. So, it starts at frame 1 and then it ends probably right around here where the ball is going to go into the tunnel is where I want to start my next shot. So I'm going to say maybe frame 38. If I wanted to put that in here, it would not be a bad idea. So let's say 01 to 38. So what I've done here is I've created this camera. I looked through it first, then I tore off a copy. I used my perspective tools and my regular camera tools to frame my shot. I also turned on a resolution gate so that I can see which part of the screen was going to render, and then I named my camera. This is the way that I like to work with all of my cameras, so I will go through and do that with another camera. I'll do one for this little tunnel area, and then I'll do, one for the jumps. I may just do one more with you watching and then do the others with you not watching so that we can move ahead and do some camera animation. So let's just do a second one. We'll go Cameras, nice regular camera. This will be the tunnel stuff, so we'll say Tunnel Camera. Don't know which frames it's going to be yet, but I will look through it. I will tear it off, turn on its resolution gate, frame it up a little bit. Hey, come here, come here. Good. And then back over here, I will go back to my perspective view just so that I kind of have a clue what I'm talking about. I think that what I want with this camera is for it to look down the tunnel like this. So I'll kind of get it closer in perspective and then come here and just finish setting up the shot. Oh my god, there's the ball. It was kind of frightening watching it come out that way. I'm going to use a really low angle here. I'm going to get like almost under the ball. That's going to make the ball look bigger, maybe even more frightening. In some cases, maybe more heroic. So that's a good shot for me for there. This is a worm's eye view camera. The opposite to this would be a bird's eye view camera, which can be used to make your subject look a little bit smaller and less powerful. So this one, ooh, the ball comes into frame, it looks like 35 if I wanted to get that just perfect. That would start at 35. And then it careens through here. You see how large and terrifying the ball is at this point. Whew, terrifying. And by frame 60, it's already basically out of the shot. So let's go back here and let's say this one's going to be 35 to 60. And I'll rename this one, we'll have it go to 35. So hopefully with this, you've kind of gotten the hang of it. You can make a camera, set it up, look through it, make sure your shot is framed properly. If you ever want to turn the resolution gate off, you just go back to the same place and you check no gate. So I'm going to pause this here. I'm going to set up at least one more camera on my own, and when I get back we'll talk a little bit about camera animation, when to do it, why you might want to do it, and why you might not want to do it. So we'll do all of that in the next video.